JustinJustin. The Greater Southland Zone. JustinJustin out on the streets of Gatorvill. The Movie Club Movies. Podcast. Tonight's movie, CRAWWL 2019. The tagline for this movie was, "They were here first," which doesn't play much into the movie narrative or motives. It only gives me more expanded thesaurus for the villains here, and that's the alligators. A bit of my movie club movies journey. I had the opportunity to get up to date with watching The Beekeeper for the first time. The character who got my Stew Award was Enzo Silente, who played the goat-suited sales scam sleaze. I thought he did a wonderful job with a more sophisticated sleaze choices, so I wanted to look him up for another view, which led me to him as I think the boss or manager of Tony Wilson, or is he the graphic designer who keeps missing the event in 24-Hour Party People from 2002. He's in that movie, and I really do like that movie, so I checked it out. He does have just a small part. Tony Wilson, played perfection by Steve Coogan. Tony Wilson's wife, played by Shirley Henderson. The voice of Babu Frick, the little guy mechanic from Rise of Skywalker. That is a movie club kind of journey search. I came up with a really great group of movies I'd like to reference. You might hear me talk about them, but at the same time, worth checking out, searching on Letterboxd, renting, or however you check out movies. It's a handful of similar alligator creature movies. I come hitting right out of the box. Crocodile Dundee, of course, everybody knows this movie by now, but it is one of my favorites, although I don't like every aspect of that movie, but it is one of those comfort movies. It just really goes a certain pace for me. Continuing, I got to see a great movie called Alligator from 1980. Starring a young Robert Forster, written by John Sayles, along with watching Lake Placid from 1999. This croc movie I watched with a YouTube content maker, Video Tasties. Shout out to them. Great episode. Alligator from 1980 was surprisingly similar to sort of the shots and some of the direction going on in this movie. And of course that is the case. Things are going to reference Jaws for the Meg and so on. Also, maybe the pilot episode of Reno 911 when they are called on about a gator in a dirty or abandoned pool. Continuing, another good movie worth referencing, the same sort of rainy visuals, Hard Rain from 1998, starring Christian Slater and Morgan Freeman. I'm not going to go too much into these movies. Please, check these out on Letterboxd, and at the same time, maybe watch a scene or two if you're skimming through YouTube. Continuing, Habitat, 1997, possibly a future episode. Into the Blue, 2005, with Jessica Alba, Paul Walker, Scott Kahn, also Ashley Scott, from several things playing in the background. Something like one of my favorites, Just Friends, also her biggest role, possibly Christmas Mail, which HDTGM covered in a recent holiday episode. Get this, she's not only in Secret Obsession with Brenda Song, she's also in Jumanji Next Level and Deadly Cheer Mom. Get a load of some of her titles. Of course, classic movie, Jaws. I also like The Meg. I do recommend that movie. It's not for everybody though. How about Underwater with Kristen Stewart? Have you seen The Abyss? Again, Blue Crush goes along with Into the Blue. I also throw in Fool's Gold. It's almost like a vacation trio if you get a chance to just watch those while you let a severe sunburn heal or something. And recently, I've seen The Shallows and really enjoyed that as one of my favorite first viewings of 2024. I also skimmed across a new ripoff called The Flood from 2023. Before we get into the cast listing, I definitely want to take a moment here. There was definitely a challenge to get a series of movies to cover and rewatch so that I could write some notes and tell you my thoughts and make it a real suggestion. And that led to some lineups that weren't fitting for an episode that is not the most important episode, but it is definitely a big milestone for me personally and creatively. We are all going through a lot of challenges since definitely 2020, if not further. I too, and definitely 2020 led me to getting into making this podcast along with a friend's suggestion. And by episode 20, I am in no point going to let this one slip away. This is a very important amount of effort for me, and there are several more to come, many more to come, but there is going to be another bigger milestone ahead, and I'm really happy to go towards that from here. What a great diving board this will be. Episode 20. It's a real special one for me, and a shout out to all of you that were there at the screenings and helped along with the podcast as it is today. I really appreciate you. This won't be the last time, and I hope this is not the first time I've got a chance to say this to you. Okay, on with the episode. This was a movie that I think I saw the trailer for and maybe read or heard a podcast mention that people liked it, and I went ahead and saw it in the theaters. I also would say, why wouldn't I? I mean, on the ticket, it sounds like a good movie. I was aware of Kaya, I think from the Pirates movie and something else she did, but I want to continue with this part of the conversation, that it was easy for me to say, I'll give this a shot. I'll go get some popcorn. I'll have a nice time, which I did. I think upon returning, I had heard that Quentin Tarantino really enjoyed this movie and also suggested another movie called Unstoppable. Now, I don't want to get this all mixed up. I usually think that they were both made into podcasts, but I do want to add, what I do know is that Quentin Tarantino was on a pretty big podcast talking about the movie Unstoppable. I do suggest you listen to that episode. I'm not necessarily a big fan of the entire podcast, and that one in particular is a doozy because QT is on his A game, and I don't think the rest of the podcast production is. However, he lays that movie out nicely, and I add, as he's adding, that's kind of a nice gem of a movie. And this one is too. I think it gets a lot of critical feedback, but I don't think it from the right people. I think folks like our movie club, myself, is all that really matters, saying, I really enjoyed this movie. I see a lot of potential and great effort from the lead actress, and it's a great storyline for a summer movie or what have you, with a hot, toasty hot box of popcorn. There's nothing wrong with that. I think that the good feedback really led me to this movie, and definitely, this is one of my picks, most suggested movies. Tonight's episode, I suggest CRAWWL. This is a Paramount movie with Raimi Productions, Fire Axe. The rating is R. This movie is available at my region of libraries. A total of some 38 copies. Pretty notable movie, although maybe it's just because it's newer for a library. Stunts.
Stunts are extensive and populated with Norwegian names. I'm not able to navigate this list and maintain a healthy life. Be sure to check out Letterboxd along with watch or listening this movie.
The editor, Elliot Greenberg. He's from movies such as Smile, Never Let Go, DeVille, produced by Trap director M. Night. Our cast. Alexandre Aja, Piranha 3D, 2010. Horns, 2013. I want to share his list of titles. Over the Rainbow, 97. Furia, 1999. High Tension, 03. The Hills Have Eyes, 06. Mirrors, 08. This may be a film flipped and adapted or vice versa. The Ninth Life of Louis Drax, 2016, which has a Challenger's Doppelganger poster. Maniac, 2012, he helped produce and write. Campfire Creepers, The Skull of Sam, 2017. I love this title. Here's a bit of a description. An Oculus Rift VR experience mini-movie told in the VR format and the description, in my opinion, shows a healthy effort. Letterboxd. Long before written language, cinema, or television, there were campfire stories. Youth scaring the living bejesus out of each other on dark nights at summer camp is a tradition. Thanks a lot, Letterboxd. Then this director does CRAWWL 2019, Oxygen 2021, most recently Never Let Go 2024, and a possible CRAWWL 2. My pick is P2 from 2007. Here's the description. A new level of terror. A businesswoman finds herself locked with an unhinged security guard in a parking garage after getting stuck working late on Christmas Eve. Okay, so great titles from that director. That last one, my pick P2, sounds scary. I wouldn't want to be a part of that. It sounds like a sick fantasy. But on Christmas Eve, that it is so random. The unhinged security guard. There's some things that just sound like, I gotta take a look at this. The movie is produced by Sam Raimi. The writers, Michael Rasmussen and Sean Rasmussen. They worked on The Inhabitants 2015, available on the library Hoopla app. The main cast. Haley Keller, Kea SCODELARIO. Where to begin with this actress? I really like this actress. She's somewhere between
Jennifer Garner,
Cate Blanchett, Nicole Kidman, Judy Greer, and Rebecca Hall. A very active, athletic-looking actress. A strong actress at her craft. She's also from Pirates 5, Tell No Tales, and would you believe the movie Moon? It's kind of her first movie. Also, the Maze Runner series, maybe she's most known for. I would think this movie's out, but I really haven't seen any marketing for it. Senna, 2024, about the race driver. I know of 30 for 30 doc of the same name, highly recommended. This is Christmas, 2022, a hid away on MGM Plus.
Follow Adam and Emma on their daily commute from the village of Langton to London, where they meet the same passengers every day. One morning, Adam breaks the unspoken taboo of talking to strangers on a train and invites the entire carriage to hold their own Christmas party together.
As I write this in the document, luxury car commercials run along my active margins.
Get your money, girl.
Another one, Don't Make Me Go 2022, directed by Hannah Marks. Before CRAWWL, Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil and Vile from 2019. A movie about the serial killer Ted Bundy. Didn't get very good reviews from my circle. And then after CRAWWL, she did The Pale Horse 2020, directed by Lenora Lonsdale. After a list of names is found in the shoe of a dead woman, one of the named people begins investigating and is drawn to the Pale Horse, the home of a trio of rumored witches living in a small village. Word has it that the witches can do away with wealthy relatives using dark arts. Also, The King's Daughter 2022. This one caught my eye, and get this. Filming wrapped in May of 2014. That's key. With the release set for April of 2015. Seems normal. However, the studios weren't happy with the initial cut. Soon after, Bing Bing Fan, must be a part of the production of the movie, ran into tax problems. Fan was a major Chinese actor, and Chinese investors contributed 50% of the film's budget. And the resulting negative publicity in China effectively killed any chance of a lucrative Chinese release. Oh no. With no major studio backing, and Pierce Brosnan as the only international star in the cast, the film sat on the shelf for almost 8 years. Okay, now that's awful,
But it happened. It's a part of this nasty business. Shout out to all the craftsperson filmmakers really putting in efforts out there.
I am not a stranger to not being paid fairly or missing the mark on being paid at all for your creative efforts. Her partner, Benjamin Walker, is an American actor and stand-up comedian. Never heard of him. He has appeared in a number of Broadway productions, notably as Patrick Bateman in the 2016 musical adaptation of the novel American Psycho. Red flag! Red flag over here! Benjamin Walker became, I doubled up, Walker became engaged to actress Mamie Gummer, the eldest daughter of actress Meryl Streep and sculptor Don Gummer. Shout out to that family. In 2009, they were married. In 2011, they lived in an apartment in Park Slope, Brooklyn. In 2013, it was announced that they had amicably separated and planned to divorce. That's 2013. Walker began dating his co-star, Kaya, in April of 2014. Okay? No, I mean, that's a good year, but they became engaged in December of 2014. He and SCODELARIO married in late 2015 and both adopted the surname SCODELARIO Davis. In September of 2021, the couple announced they were expecting their second child, a girl. Go get it, girl. In 2024, the couple announced their separation. Okay, there might be some editing there, but what I want to call attention to, The King's Daughter is noted on releasing in 2022. Their relationship had kind of begun on the set of that movie in 2014. It didn't release in 2015. They're still together. They're even more committed in a few more years. They're having children. Then, like most of us, 2024, they're separated. Just joking. Just what a wild relationship. The movie you made together didn't even release until basically you were divorced. Who is this guy? Kaya, you could do better. Dave, Haley's dad. I don't even use his first name. Haley's dad is played by Barry Pepper. Most famous, Saving Private Ryan, Enemy of the State, and Ripley Underground. I don't know how shady of a movie this is, but it's worth a watch. I'd like to maybe even do it for an episode. I had always thought he was in Enemy at the Gates in 2001, which is basically a sniper movie after the popularity of Saving Private Ryan. But it's actually starring Jude Law. So to add to his on-screen persona, a bit of a Jude Law kind of actor. Moving forward, Stan is played by Anson Boone, who's playing John Lydon in the 2022 movie Pistol. Now that's about the Sex Pistols, a really great band in my record collection. Didn't know this movie came out. Hey, get at me if you like these movies that I kind of miss, or if you're on those streaming services where these are blasting at you. Let me know if they're any good. Anson Boone, also in 1917, a movie from 2019. Pete is played by Jose Palma. He's in Venom 2 from 2021, The Batman 2022, and The Flight of Brian 2024. Crowd favorite Wayne is played by Ross Anderson. He's from Lift 2024, Kevin Hart, F. Gary Gray, and The Kingsman 2021. Special effects by David Boucher. And I would note, I think he did a great job, or that team did a great job. TMCMS Podcast. Tonight's feature, CRAWWL 2019. As a Category 5 hurricane tears. I was born in a crossfire hurricane, and I howled at the morning driving rain. But it's all right now. In fact, it's gas. But it's all right. I'm jumping jack flash. It's gas, gas, gas. Jumping jack flash. It's gas. Jumping jack flash. It's gas. Jumping jack flash. Rolling Stones. I was born in a crossfire hurricane. Andrea Dietrich is the original artist painter from the movie 1996 Face of Evil. It's sort of a made-for-TV, I think even Lifetime movie. I not only caught on to this movie because it was something that was on TV when I was like, I don't know, 11 or 12 or even 14. And We Hate Movies recently covered this in their Patreon only episodes. I think they do a Lifetime series. It is actually a surprisingly good movie if you're into VHS era Tracy Gold mischievous. Andrea Dietrich did the storyboards for this movie, a graphic novel style illustrated opening. And I'm referencing that this movie has a deleted scene intro that I'm going to include in my rundown of this movie because I found it to be excellently dramatic, specifically horrific, an incredible vibe to this movie. Also, that it was deleted and it's so shocking, but it wasn't completed. We just get this graphic novel style illustration, well done enough for a fun, whatever, DVD extra, so to say. Trigger warning. Trigger warning for horror levels of blood, guts, and suspense. Thrills as a Category 5 hurricane tears. There is an alternate beginning provided by my digital copy. It's illustrated and begins with a couple going through a house to find belongings and gather children. Rain is pouring. And with the illustrations, the characters are in knee-deep water inside their home. We can see boarded up windows. The characters have no discomfort on their faces as they move forward, leaving the hazardous situation. The daughter goes back into their room for a stuffed animal. For some reason, her t-shirt clearly says, with a sketched out graphic, "Good girl." Okay. Her father grabs her and makes their way out of the house to the back seat of a family car. Two kids being buckled up. Representation matters. The father looks like a Chris Evans type, and the mother is Latina, at least by the tone of the marker used. They get into what is generic BMW and begin leaving their street. Is flooding. Other cars remain driving in two lanes. The family approaches a deeper flooded roadway, with tree branches and bush filling the roadway. To me, this seems like gator turf. Their father gets out to help push a smaller car stuck in front of them. They make little progress, and we see the family car falling deeper into water. The brown-eyed mother can see a nearby Mercedes falling into water as well. The rain and stream is unforgiving and nonstop. The colors are surf green and aqua cyans. Headlights are glowing color beacons of hope and safety. I want to reach out. The children can see the car is filling with water. The reactions and flashes of lightning only further show how frightening the situation has become. The mother begins preparedness to hit the horn and start gathering the children from the back seat. Their father is chest deep in water trying to push this damned car in front of them. He is momentarily distracted when he sees a swimming shadow in the water nearby. He looks back at his family car. We see it has door height flooding. The kids are on the roof of the family car, and we see a shadow swim by behind the mother, who is waist deep. The mother waves to the next passing car. The water continues, and the trio now sees their father fight aggressive water and rain. He is pulled under a frothy aqua. The fam has frightened faces. Well done. And the father splashes out, reaching bloody and a blood-splattered. He screams for help and has lost his legs. We see broken bones and denim in the splash. The wife screaming. The gator swims up out of the water to go across his chest and take him down, leaving a whirlpool. She's devastated, left to shelter her two kids on top of this fam SUV, surrounded by sea foam flooded stream, no more roadway, whimpering huddled in the distance, the smaller car nearly submerged, and a floodlight from a hovering helicopter. Search and rescue. Help! We're down here! We need help! Help! Water rushing around the top of the car. She's holding on incredibly well. Submerged predator. Shadows circle. It's already gruesome. I do not need a downpour to shudder you. Within another beat, the gator pounce and horrific screams and grunts are heard as slashing pieces are sent up in the animated illustration. The circle of beastly murder, while rain pours above the flooded roadway the copter has just missed the stranded family. Bloodied, stuffed bunny sinks into the floodwater. CRAWWL hits the screen. Swim team. Swim gym. A weekend competition. A weekend tournament. From the swim team. University of Florida, Gainesville. Competitors take their mark on a side platform for diving and rush into dives, slowed as we get an underwater shot with the title officially CRAWWL. 3D white letters. The swimmers athletically swim through these letters. It's a nice touch. I didn't watch this with automatic credits. I would want to know if this team comprises of actual college athletes or the stunt persons listed. With a major Summer Olympics in our rear view, were any of these swimmers in the competitions? Kaya SCODELARIO as Haley is giving good competitor looks as she stretches to stay warm. Most everyone is in a swimsuit and waterproof hat with goggle resting on her head. Haley has an added windbreaker like poncho, like a athletic cover-up. The camera, I think, is catching a good look at the active gym in front of us, showing what is capable, and a fresh canvas. It's a very brightly lit gym. It's nice, of course, the pool feeling, that bright reflective light in this shot to begin our movie. Haley gets a feel for the water and gets in her stance ready. Maybe this is a relay. The actress has big eyes and looks great framed in an activity like this. She looks to her side and eyes down her competitor. This could be a friendly. Also, does this teammate survive the flooding? It's her turn and we get a brisk look at the final leg of their race. I think her friend wins and this was just practice. She exits the water and shows that she may be winded. That may have been more of a challenge for her. She's grimacing and walking back to the lockers. She has a flashback of her younger self in a competition with her father coaching her. If you believe in me. In her locker room, she answers her device with a call from her sister. And we sit in the locker for a frame. Of those using the locker room in the back, this is a spice of slasher flicks, also some sport flicks, as well as a sleaze. However, nobody behaves badly and she takes the call.
Haley's call to adventure.
The TV directly to the back wall has storm radar on their screen, and the headline is similar to Florida braces for storm impact. The athletes still in their swim gear and most continue to wear their rubber hats are also racking their smart devices and typing away. Haley's sister, Beth, played by Morfred Clark, with baby in hand, warns her sister while asking if she has talked with her dad. He fights with her, and she is most similar to him. Haley's sister is empathetic from a safe distance, just like her mom. Haley should text her sister when she is in contact with their dad. He has not been picking up. The southern coast has been evacuated, and 75 South will be congested. Haley is taking a chance driving to check on him. She is also putting her top on at the locker. And after my brief overview, I comedically want to add, what our hero here is using the locker room to get dressed while her teammates are not. And it's like, Haley, keep your clothes on, girl, you collegiate pervert. Quite literally, Haley's call to adventure. This is ridiculous. This can't be true.
Do not shoot guns into the hurricane.
And the radio personality is giggling responses.
What? You can't shoot at a hurricane? Well, it's dangerous.
Haley is in her car driving. A bobble shark with a small figure in its mouth sits attached to the dashboard as a bobbling sort of goofy piece of decoration. A tchotchke? Bobblehead? She has called and left a message to her daddy. No answer. The rain is dense and we see a car has rolled over, holding up a line of what looks like a limited amount of local traffic. Haley may be going the opposite direction of this small line. Just taking a right, she slows. She is also met with a patrolman at her window. Very local, very friendly. Wayne! He's no stew. He asks her some questions about her fam, Beth in Boston, and her father. She's headed to check on him. The storm is headed west. They're not letting anyone through. He actually says, "I can't let you through." Haley, "Oh, come on, Wayne. I know the roads. I'll be in and out." A sixth limb that is Muppet-like is now growing out of my back in my shoulder area. Nope. It's going for a high five. It's going for a... No high fives. No high fives. Into the hoodie I'm wearing. There will be no high fives for that line. Thank you, though. Haley is on her way in her reasonably sized SUV.
While the rain is pouring on her windshield.
He cannot let her go by. He wants her to say hi to her sister Beth. As Haley drives off, the radio can be heard. Is this a real DJ? Is this the director? She says, fuck it, and takes a dirt shortcut back onto the right as the turn she wanted to take to check on her father. Radio DJ, I hope every parent in the state is thinking, how can I keep my family safe? We see Bright Rock ahead, road underwater. We see houses already taking on water. 8 minutes into the movie, Haley steers her Jeep Liberty through a sheet of sheer shit your pants pouring rain, storms of hurricane windy. This movie is an excellent solid rain selection as well as great storm sounds, if it isn't obvious. Her red car passes a community standard issue metal mailbox full of several small mail slots. Haley parks and enters the house and is greeted by a dog. The dog is friendly and active and already seems to be motivated for something for some reason. Sugar the dog, played by ZhuZhu. Haley has incredible strawberry blonde hair that is wet from the downpour. She is only reflected by her ripe orange hoodie or sweatshirt. She finds her old room or some of her things, her swim team trophies from her past, and family photos. Possibly one has her mother with her father. She's talking to Beth, her sister. Dad would not have left without sugar. It's weird. It's a ghost town. Beth is cautioning Haley on getting back. Stop at a shelter if you need to. Beth fills us in that the second house is in transition since the divorce. And Haley echoes, this condo is horrible. It's depressing. Haley is checking bills in the mail and some pills on the table. A bottle of alcohol. Reality, this looks like a depressed single guy. Nothing too suspicious. Haley is now driving with Sugar the dog, who is like, get us out of here! Answer the door! She rolls up to the additional house, which has a pickup truck that looks active and recent. Haley gasps a little bit, seeing her father's car and the family's property under the weather. The weather is shown at rooftop level, and we can see nearby a traffic light above, a petrol station. Some prices are $2.79 a gallon. I think I even saw like $2.83.89, something like that. In the distance is hills and a water tower. Adding a note here that she drives around a tight little green hill that would be like a median with one turn and then the drive around to housing, because she parks at the house after this island of land. End of note.
Yeah, just. I'll keep an eye out for that.
This corner square of a residential neighborhood reminds me of the small area in Birds where Tippy is staying. Hitchcock, that shithead. Haley is getting soaked and she looks around before heading inside. And after inside and letting the dog inside, it wiggles all the rain off. She texts Beth to say she found his truck. Haley saying, "Hello, Dad," all around the house. She does show she feels a presence. A sound of the house shifting is heard. She hears the storm or something close by growl. It is non-stop pouring. She is shouting all over, even outside in the back of the house, the backyard lawn with wooden fence and a rusted old swing set. We get it, movie. Haley grew up in this house. But this here water storm is like Mount St. Helens ash rain, and you best be getting your rear and your father's derriere out of here. Nah, you hear? Nah, you hear? She wears this university orange hoodie after a workout, and she's putting up her hood as she looks out an incredible CGI landscape backdrop for the storm. A neutral green that is going to electrify any pretty color like her hoodie. Marco Polo is not in the backyard. The dog is laying with paws under chin. Looks to be a larger cockapoo, possibly. The eyes of this doggy actor shift to one side. Look in the closet, or look in the closet, or get out. Where is he, girl? She, the doggy, is worried with an inquisitive yet cautious whimper. A note? I'm not a fan of dog barks. If I could avoid them altogether, I would want to warn, if you are watching this one, the dog barks are abundant during this series. Haley is calling her dad's phone, which we can hear is on the kitchen counter, with her and sister's text from earlier, along with a warning. Trigger, cover your ears with your soggy mitten paws. Hurricane windy warning in this area. Take shelter now is the notification on the screen of the device. Outside the sliding glass door, the effects guys are really giving a wall of windy water. Haley is focused, and the house is standing solid so far. I'm impressed. Battery low. Hey, give us hell, effects guys. The sound of a radio Haley can hear from under the sink. Is it Iggy? Is it the police? The dog barks, and Haley, just as she thinks about checking where the radio would be, the dog barks and a tree's limb breaks into the kitchen window. Haley steps back defensively and breathes more intensely, like the end of an argument in an indie film. Haley steps out of the kitchen. The sounds are like a wooden ship, which seems accurate, and she becomes Dorothy in a colorless whirlwind wind tunnel. Walls seem to close in. Shadows creep around the room. She's checking the garage, where there is a wood workspace, a washer, dryer, and a garage door propped up where we can see the truck's front bumper. What was this guy, smoking doobies? And that's funny, Jay. Allow me to reference Wizard of Oz and quite possibly The Birds, if not both of those dubiously. Her dog keeps barking as she finds the doorway to the basement, which looks wet, and she seems really cautious about going down. She mentions, and she has great hair, curly strawberry blonde. She swishes it up into a top bun. OG top bun for the movie clubs? Is it Florence Pugh and Don't Worry Darl? Our first episode. She is ready. She uses the light from her device, and her dog is leading with sonic barks. 16 minutes into the movie. To her dog, she emits responsive leadership. It's cool. Cable guys do it all the time. Be careful of what's hiding below this facility. Would Paul from White of the Eye, a John G. pick and recent episode, would Paul come down here to install some stereo equipment? Would Paul be a better fit for this role and take this woman's role? Paula, well, we may see in a moment. This time around, the music seems less clear. I can't tell you who this classic rock is. The floor is creaking, making very loud noises. But that may be the storm ripping through signs outside. She has made it down to the mudded floor and is asking, Dad, looking around this basement. Looking throughout this basement. She speaks to her dog. Stay here, okay? It's a basement with cellar doors, just to be truthful. There are rats, not as many as Indiana Jones, but this is not just a basement. It's a crawl space. Crawl space. Real estate agent. It's a large studio. Efficiency. You've got running water. You've got pooling water. It still has its original timber beams and ceiling. Also, wall-to-wall mud. But it is nearby downtown, and a gas station is catty-corner to you.
Do they have an electric car charging station? It's a crawl space.
We hear flays. It says we hear flays. I don't know what that word is. We hear flies, and we are shown like milk crate sized traps, I guess. Maybe for like raccoons, possums, and one may be rotting. She is sickened by this, and she is basically on her hands and knees. Not at all playful, and I applaud her, the actress, and the filmmakers from holding back on a playful damsel angle. While she crawls, this is uncomfortable. It's muddy. She's only wearing thong flip-flops, and she loses one on what is probably turds or muck. Her light is wicked bright, but not one she would want to rely on. She's listening for the radio sound. She is crawling in the right direction, which is hard to map out with my words, but we will follow an extreme path. And with this length she's crawled, we see an iconic shot of the pathway. Heading to the sound of the radio, a turn in suspense has also hit. She mumbles, "Of course you would come down here during a hurricane. During a hurricane." We hear dripping water and a radio more clearer. She sees a screwdriver on the surface of the mud, and a work coat hung on some framing. Haley runs into spider webs and does a great annoyed grunt. She is maneuvering under this set masterfully, infusing her performance with what I think is real life enthusiastically. Yucky, tactileness. Yes, spider webs or swarm of flays on your nose is an awful feeling, and it's natural, primal, primeal, crawl, Nick crawl. 18 minutes, 18 Just joking. Seconds. Also, I love that I wrote flays. Watch out for the flays in the basement. Put that garbage away before he attracts flays. She is framed, surrounded by dark corridor walls, rainwater flooding drip by drip. She has crawled to an intersection. She can hear the radio clearer. It is some kind of 70s arena sound. Maybe the lyrics are, "Take me now, I'm ready, take me now." If you could visualize a crawl space, dirt floor basement, we can see light from shallow windows. The drips are dripping, and ahead of her is more dirt, leading to a wall and chambers or modules of sturdy foundation and brick cubicle wall-like divisions. She quickly sees to her left her father's tool belt, and above where there is some piping, handprints of blood, as if he grabbed to move himself. And then she sees he is laying down in the chamber to her left. That we see is limited entrance with like cable cords running through these walls, frames. Simple layout, but needed to be mentioned. She has been reasonably shouting every 15 seconds or so, and he seems unresponsive. The classic rock radio is her father's, Tony Stark, cyber heartbeat. The room chamber she crawls into is surrounded by piping that fits through the walls like a vertical prison cage. She has to dive below the piping to crawl under, and she heads to his side. The frame gives us a peek of the pathway. I see it as a hallway. We can still see this, and she finds her dad. Is this a De Palma kind of shot? Her dad is alarmingly pale. I'm creeped out right now. I am following along. I gave myself some My defenses are up. My hair is standing straight up. Her dad is alarmingly pale. He's breathing but passed out. His shoulder is badly injured, clawed or bitten, bloody, and he may have broken it. Obviously, he got a starter platter of an injury.
We don't know from what just yet.
And she winds up the manual flashlight and wants to go for help. She can stand up a bit more and gets ready to drag him. She cannot. So she finds a tarp nearby and rolls him onto that and drags him near the piping wall. She then is able to one-leg it over the pipe wall. What is the crawling scenario all about? I like shots from a few angles, and she clears the pipes leggy over. We see from above her back down to her dad's face. He is kinda sleeping through this. Doggy is barking as she drags him. An alarm is going off. And this athlete is sludging him through this hallway back to the stairwell. The alarm is coming from the radio. It stares at us with a red light, like HAL from 2001, or your dumbass device. The camera begins to stalk us, but she is progressing, and the doggy is barking her on. Like teenage friends inside the cabin, as the cheerleader runs back with the faceless killer making strides right behind her. Haley is no final girl. She's alpha leader. Remember the locker scene? No one was fucking with number one. 20 minutes. And actually, I kind of rewound in my head before doing this that I don't think I wrote about. Her father mentions apex predator in his coaching to her earlier. A flash and you miss it. But we get it. A good look around the basement, and straight away is the shallow, simple wooden stairway. And as she grunts for a breakaway sludge sprint to the stairs, she doesn't get that far. A croc busts through the stairs, from under them, on the other side, as if this croc is nesting under this staircase. I guess it's a movie house, so I'm going with it. The staircase is like a theater in the round, I suppose, and this gator is headed, shuffling through the stairbase. Haley let go of her dad and retreated, crawling backwards, instinctually. Mouth open, we get a huge entrance from this beast. First off, it's coming at us, about as wide as the staircase, and behind this aggressor is the back walls of the basement. That is concrete bricked with Red Cross style cutouts, causing a cathedral effect, or definitely letting passive light in. And also, referencing the 1980 movie Alligator, Alligator likes to use this view on its marketing. Haley is crawling backwards, now racing with her dad on this tarp. She's doing incredible. She is he-manning this load. The sound is great. Sludge, wet gravel, and crackling sound. And crackling soot. We get shots of a paced chase from above. The gator is 10 feet long, and her dad remains passed out on this tarp, and he's kinda waking, I guess. She's incredibly dragging him to the wall of piping, and in an athletic motion, she goes over the pipes and slides her father under, back into the original chamber, and the gator is stuck to bark at the pipe wall, shoving its snout under the pipes. Haley gets hero lit, and she breathes out in shock and adrenaline. She is petrified as this dinosaur winds back to where it came. Its tail is just as oppressive as its bite. From her incredibly big eyes of focus to the front yard above us, the storm rages. The neighbors have left. Loud wind and dark gray skies offers no resources. She can see in the distance of her basement confine a muddy pile, the busted stairwell, and two button-sized eyes staring right back at her. Haley is a badass. She is there for her dad as he regains a healthy consciousness. Even this chamber seems to have more headroom than when she crawled down the hallway. The hoodie has water, and she squeezes this into her dad's mouth for some hydration. She then takes off one of her flip-flops and offers him a granola bar. Just kidding. He is in a lot of pain. Cannot crawl on his arms like Haley because of his nauseous injuries. The grater is too big to get into this chamber. Haley's phone is in this hallway ringing. Her dad knows no one is coming in this storm. Haley makes moves to get her device. I have to try. I'm getting us out of here, she says. The gator can see you in the dark, but cannot hear you out of the water, he says. As she moves, she needs her dad to talk. He's being a coach. He is asking her how she did on her events. She lost the recent race. She's discouraged, and he continues coaching with dad encouragement. I know you, Haley. You're not going to give up now. You don't know a thing about me. Haley is sort of fighting his words. She is definitely frustrated with him. And probably one element is if she's competing in swimming for herself or others. As she makes her way around the chamber, not only does the layout I did my best to describe help us as she finds her way, the casting of this actress is on point, Kaya, because one of her strengths is her big, bright eyes. I personally cannot stop watching her, and the lighting and focus of the frame allows her eyes to remain bright and open in this darkness, sludge, grunge, scenery, grunge, scenery. She is methodically crawling along to the phone. I remember when I was seeing this portion, I remember thinking, now go back to the chamber and do not get on your phone. She is getting on the device as she crouches, connecting 911. Along the hallway against a brick foundation, within moments, a jaws of mouth are next to her. Like Samuel Jackson in Jurassic Park when Laura Dern, finding her way to the fuse box along the piped wall, she is getting on the device as she crouches along the hallway against a brick foundation within moments, and a jaws of mouth are next to her. The croc's mouth is like,
Snapchat, Gucci, wee.
She quickly crawls to the chamber, but is unable to get under and into as her lower leg or ankle is grabbed by a gator. She is instantly grabbed back, and we see her full body slid back. She's cliffhanger, reachy, and horror face, screaming. Her father is intensely shouting, "Roar! Roar!" From the ground level angle, focused from the top of her head, the camera sees her getting thrashed from side to side against the wooden house frame beams. This is when your body would be breaking and your neck would be breaking, because that is what their attack is, right? Haley, stiff as a board. A diving board, maybe? We also see a top side angle that puts her in hero mode, or goblin mode. She begins kicking the head of the swamp beast. Go! Kick him! She gets her foot loose and sludges past the gator, still snapping. 30 minutes. She can get to her feet and discovers that this is a second gator, and she is in between them as they take over two chambers. So our frame is showing a larger space with ample headroom for women her size. This is nasty. The loud hiss sounds and sinister darkness of the basement make for a thriller confrontation. It's a standoff for a moment. I was looking to see how bad her leg was bitten. She throws some rodent traps at one beast and uses one cage as a shield. The gator bends it with an attack, and her dad, the hero sniper from Save Private Ryan, is gruesomely crawling, making his way to her, and his shouting like roars bangs on the nearest piping. These cage cage traps. I don't know. Is this for lobsters? She is able to get it around one head as the animal attacks forward. She is able to use her opposable thumbs, but she scatters away as if her ACL is not mush. She does not anticipate the tail as she crawls away and starts to excel when the second lunges at her from the side. It's almost like she's in the hallway again and one is behind her, stuck. And from the side came this one. Her leg was almost grabbed this time. She goes to the next narrow pathway and the camera passes the brick framing, which has more cables passing through. So she's on this like side path and she starts crawling into the cabling to get at her device. I think it is darker than the movie is lighting us. Someone is calling, her phone is near, and the gator passes the camera. One meaty mitt smashes the phone into the mud. Smush. Relax. These are now and later gators. She is stuck in these cables, forcing her way through, and the cable pulls from the wall, releasing her. She continues through as the beast is moving forward. This animal looks real. CGI? Practical? I'm fooled. And I am not doing any more research. As the animal makes a critical attack towards her, she maneuvers herself to the side, grabs the loose screwdriver, and starts stabby to one eye. And she is grunting. The croc is grunting. And I get a flare of nostalgia when Wesley is attacking the rodents of extraordinary size. Princess Bride.
Good one.
She draws blood and distraction as she crawls into the nearest chamber again, caged in pipes. She's crouched, and we see her ripped capris and bloody knees. She's in shock, but keeps the screwdriver up, ready to attack. Her dad shrieks, "Haley, are you alright?" And she's panting loudly, silently says nothing, but extends herself to look into the opening, and a stalker with one bloody eye looks back. And it's looking back with the bloody eyes. I don't know, filmmakers, we get it, but I don't know, maybe it's the second viewing, you might notice that. Good move, Croc. She continues to look, and the camera holds on the slightly ajar, hissing mouth.
Kinda with camera realness. I can't deal with the sound effects. I don't like these animals.
This thing then rounds itself back to its chamber. She answers her father. "Dad, there's two. Are you hurt?" "I'm fine." "You don't sound fine." "I'm safe." She winds up the flashlight and checks her injuries. Bloody leg, has bite, and she wants to barf. She probably also wants to pass out.
Do you want to live at all? Don't scroll and crawl.
Snapchat. Her father is in bad shape too. He is wallowing around, I don't know, trying to get his body ready to crawl, I don't know. The radio is playing lightly in the background. Her dad has his tool belt and sees a shovel in his chamber. Haley gets some tourniquet on her leg, and she is in extreme pain. But these are Rambo rank action hero shots, and I'm here for it. Yeah, Kaya is killing it in this movie. 34 minutes. Outside, we get a great shot, probably CGI, of water, wind, thrashing palm trees, street lights glowing inside, all gray. Wind and rain, CGI screensaver. I see a basketball hoop, as American as, hanging above garage doors. Back inside the basement, visible flooding. The floor is mostly water, and the alarm pinging radio is hanging on above the deep puddle, on a patch of crawl space just above the water against some brick fixture. Radio, avoid low-lying areas. As her dad uses a shovel to ski his ass around his chamber, hearing the consistent warnings is frustrating him. Kaya is asking if he sees the gators. They may be near the stairs. The storm sounds rage. Kaya slides over her pipe confinement and begins heading. She is grimacing and grunting from pain. Her dad is grimace and grunting from pain he's also taping his leg. The water is even higher. Standing, it would be over the ankle, near the calf, while in this crawl space, these two are ass deep. I think her dad is pushing his leg bone back into his leg. The radio cannot tread water and has taken on its last and only gulp.
Radio CRAWWL signing off.
As Kaya pushes through the rising basement water, a gator is repositioning. This movie can show the winding textures for dramatic, cinematic of these creatures very well. She can see the gas station from these open window ports, and the lights are on. Someone is in the Quickie Mart. Haley, Dad, I see some people. Hey, help! And outside it is very loud with a storm. Almost as loud as the recording when my Mac starts its internal fan. Zooming into Bannon's, the flooding is up to the gas pumps, and a motorboat is docked near this store's door. Two dopes are carrying out an ATM just above the surface of the water. I see varied gas prices again, $2.83, $3.04. One more younger looter is inside continuing to grab things. Mark is catching some intuition, looking at a light. Haley is shaking, and she is shining. Just below the house across the thick grayness, Mark can see this sign clearer. And as we see him see this, his partner in crime, a young woman, is waiting in the motorboat, as we can see a large gator attacking her in the boat. The boat is tipping, and this is crucially composed, well-framed, comedic, horrific. Mark, already too late, his partner has red hair that is cornrow braided, and she is getting hungry hippoed in this boat. Mark is like, shit, and he is taken under. The third turd is eyeing two cold turds on a shelf. No, actually these are single, loosey hot dogs. Just two hot dogs on a shelf, out of the packaging. He grabs one of these as well and eats it. This hungry hippo grimaces and then seems satisfied. Hot dogs. I assure you, these are not bongo dogs, okay? Mark regains his footing and scatters warning. Number 3, he is then taken under and reemerges inside the store and is creating bloody water, but has not been clearly attacked. The third, jump scared, is backing up after almost leaving, and he's got this shelf dog in his mouth. A gator tail wags as Mark is attacked outside, and third face can see in the security mirror another gator has entered. Aisle 2? Gator? Aisle 2? Is that the aisle with all the ramen and mouthwash, or Vienna sausages and men's combs? He is taken down near the flavored nacho chips, near the soft drink coolers, cold soda coolers. Haley sees the trio go down and is like, no, no, no. Car alarms are going off. Her dad says there's another way to get out, and she begins to head with the directions he gave. She is cautious, but aggressively moving. He has directed that she finds this area of the house. She would need to get there by exiting through the ceiling of this basement, which is wood slats, wood paneling. She begins pushing and finding her way into this ceiling. It's difficult, and Kaya is good at challenged grunting. Like, this has to be all so frustrating, painful and difficult and soggy. And then she goes again, with her hands free, and a family of cobwebs and their crawlspace CGI spiders crawl on her face. The effect works, but beware, the CGI seams begin to show. Her face is too naturally pretty for CGI twigs. It is nasty and dirty, but there is water right there. And y'all, be aware, this is when a gator just appears and grabs you, distracted by dust bugs in the storm forest. Just kidding. Great. Kaya is doing great, but That series wasn't helping the effect. The crawl space panel she is wanting to move to exit is being jammed by a piece of wooden furniture, and her She-Hulk arms get a good lift on this, but only enough space for the doggy to get a sniff of her person friends, her somebodies. Sugar is a good girl and gives a paw for the moment. It's okay, Sugar. We're trying to get to you. The furniture is also jammed by the wall trimming and is blocking the slack as Kaya lifts. That was their plan B. Sugar the dog has a place to lay. And as the two downstairs prepare to reset a new plan, a police siren chirp is heard, and through the window ports they can see a cop motorboat and two safety yellow raincoats and floodlight. It's her high school cop friend. They park the boat, and he wades up to the house. As the two keep shouting and whistling, he knocks on the front door, then shoulders in. They are shouting. He is banging a shovel, and upstairs he cannot hear. The motorboat is floating, and the motor begins to jam. Swamp weed stuck in the propeller. At 46 minutes. Wayne, he is standing above them. The dog is kind of shepherding Wayne, as dogs do, and most would follow the dog and see where it takes them in a house during an emergency. Florida cop Wayne may only have that high school diploma because he seems stuck on 1 footstep at a time. That's a good one. That's a good one. Hey Riddle would clearly see that maybe there was a murder here, and the culprit, an enormous ice cube. They got ice this big? No cube. It's an enormous gator.
Slow and low. A shot?
The storm and the officer cautiously pulling out the residential seaweed. The water surrounding him seems active over by the swing set. Back to back, in the basement, the water is well up to Haley, the actress Kaya, her back. I don't know. Is her dad laying on a loft nearby? She is navigating the gator water, a small flashlight still in her hand. She and her dad are making some bases out of the piped chambers. So it seems she was navigating safely, testing her distance. I felt like a weekend had passed, waiting for Wayne to make this family's basement a part of his Goog Goo map. The doorway to the basement had tricked me initially. It's a cellar-type door, slightly more angled, as a domestic door, just inside the house. Not outside the house. So now with Wayne leaning in, it's a Smurf door. And the fam calls out, Wayne, stop! No! Wayne, there's 2 gators down here now! And Wayne leans in. Goo goo. Gator A, Wayne! The gator's jaws are jaws, like as the shark out of water, or croc for an antelope. Wayne goes in and does not make it. It's like a land shark on SNL. Like, it's just from the side. Like, it's jaws from the side. It's like the way you'd put an oven mitt on and got a breadstick. That's how that gator got Wayne. I'm not joking. It's very funny. I mean, it's not funny, but come on. Simultaneously, 2 safety yellow jacket wearing service workers are attacked on screen. I don't know that Wayne or his partner here, or the looters, are like Canadian soap opera notables.
This time, along this watch, reminded me of those red shirts on Star Trek, and I don't reference that often.
Haley knew this guy from high school. Possibly the seed they gave us was he may have had a lifetime crush on her sister, Beth. Wayne, we hardly knew ye, white guy, and hope you passed on peacefully after being taken down. This character had the missed opportunity of being covered in product logos, like a race car driver. If victims wore fire suits and caught fire as they were attacked, that would be one rare improvement. This movie is smart enough to not go there. I mean, the deleted intro is as much more brutal body count than Wayne hears death. If this was Noel's director cut, the gators take the boat. Men at work, the bike cops take the L countless times. In this one, the boat cops take the L once. Well, really, or twice. I'm surprised by my criticism of that scene. Poor Wayne goes down.
I don't know, maybe you can see the strings of the attack. I don't know, my criticism seems
Brutal. His partner cop is somehow thrown by one croc, and 4 crocs take him apart. Well, I mean, in comparison, right there, that's a different death than what happens to Wayne. Sugar barks at the cellar door, which now seems flattened on the floor, so I think the camera is flexing me in my living room. Wayne jumps against the opening. He made me think of the movie Tremors. Yeah, he's like out of the water, hand reaching at this cellar door entranceway as Sugar's like backing up, like, I can't pull you in. The scene continues with Haley swimming to him somehow. He is head above water as water swirls around him, bloody. How the gator is doing this, and how would Haley swim up? That would be like walking up next to Jim Henson while his hand is up Big Bird, and you expecting he won't spill the hot coffee you were holding. She's calling out and holding out her arm. And I mean by that is that she's right up against this attack. She's like, whatever, like concealing herself against the wall. But it's like, what are you doing? Like the tail would be whipping you. You'd be covered in guts and blood. I get that she is an angel and she wants to help. She's amazing. But what the F, Haley? Just back away, or, I mean, I don't know. Brutal. Nightmare. As I think another gator hungry hippos and pulls him away, she is kind of keeping hidden against the beams. Concealed, like I said. And the next frame is a parked gator, and not cowardly concealed. She's less confused than I am. She's trying to help Wayne out, which looks silly. I mean, I'm just off on one. Eyes becoming lit as it makes moves towards Haley as a hunting predator would out a park. We get a quick flip back of Haley swimming almost as smoothly as the gator. She is very agile, making it around a corner and possibly up a passage that then is cut off to the gator with a thud, to the guarding pipes and her dad's embrace. Again, not going a junky direction, the movie keeps the chlorine in the pool of story with the fam, here to continue to connect. Her former swim coach father embraces her after she outswims her competition. Very much compatible composition. Humanity we can all follow in the theater. 50 minutes. Her reaction shows the real pressure of what they have been experiencing. Her shock from trauma continues.
pizza slice emoji. Was probably my pizza break.
They stay against a wall, holding each other. It's intense. It's soaking. It's getting colder. The house is making sounds of shifting, aching structure. The basement is incredibly quiet, especially in contrast to the long series we just experienced. Maybe her and her dad could record a podcast episode before passing on. Drowning. I never thought it would end like this. I wish I never would have come back here.
I know, and yesterday I was waiting in line for an iced coffee, and this year has started off with the worst luck.
Drowning humor.
Headlines read, college-level competitive swimmer eaten alive this weekend as her father's residence flooded with water, and her team's mascot intruded and attacked the 22-year-old swimmer. How many of these animal mascots were there during the attack? Well, there were several. Her hoodie was soggy, and she was wearing no shoes. A team spokesperson had this to Twix. Our thoughts go out to the fam. If our mascot were bongo dogs, badgers, or raiders, would this have been any easier?
What about Cornhuskers?
No more questions.
That turned into a press conference from a Twix. Okay, some drama is going to enter the plot here for motivation. And I didn't remember this much friction. Well handled by the actors. I will not stand in this puddle for long. Her father saw her practicing breathing in the fam's pool or downstairs when she was younger, when she was struggling to hold her breath as well as her top teammate. And this callback conversation covers that. Figured that shit out on her own. And we don't give up. But that he gave up on mom. That's my bad acting. Oh, man. As the divorce, and of course he replies, she was unhappy, so we split up. Reasonable. And I was thinking at this moment, because Kaya has me worried about her injuries, how she is not getting sick. The both are just neck above water, in shock, of course, and you must just be in throbbing pain. They're also attempting to contain themselves and their energy. The two girls kept the fam together. They reconcile, the father and daughter here, over missing each other. They come together. Let's beat these pea-brain piece of shits. This guy, do you know about this guy and his brain studies? Okay. The banging on pipes, similar to Venom's weakness, is one offense to keep the gators away. Enough to sprint to an opening. We see the shadowy beasts make their ways a ways in the distance.
But with Swampy, my AI nav app voice assistant, I am not going to be able to map us out.
And now that I've been taking notes on this viewing, the setup for this movie is similar to the Seinfeld episode where they only wait together in the Chinese restaurant.
Haley, go ask that table of gators for a spoonful of their wontons. I will give you an e-pass ticket to Pirates of the Caribbean ride in Orlando.
Haley does swim through the basement, stealth, as a splish happens to one side. At one point we follow a gator, and this gator may be on Haley's tail. Again, and above the basement underwater cam, we see and hear her dad banging on the pipes, non-stop. And I don't think he means to, but it looks like he hockey goalkeeper style side kicks a construction jack, causing something barrier size to collapse onto a gator. At the very moment it was making it past the pipes. Now that the water level is high, possibly this gator is gating smashed. This other gator, Haley, emerges from the water, haha, with her pretty frog eyes and forehead. First, her eyes are massive. Apocalypse Now Predator is the reference shot. Female swamp stunts. We can hear Sugar barks, and with her, the storm jerks on. And Sugar, stay out of the way from the opening. You are at hyena levels. Again, I'm referencing Nambia cams on YouTube. An African reserve cam, I watch one, a fun watering puddle. Shout out to Nambia. Is there a Sugar barking down the cellar door cam? Is this the future of cinema? Give me a PIP, no paperclip, on the edge of the silver screen with a cam stream, comma, Sugar the dog, checking out the cellar door, lol. Like, give me that, like, I just would like to see what the family pet was doing while whatever the action is on screen. The gator struggles under the collapse. Dick distance from Haley's dad. Because these beasts' hearing is more sensitive underwater, Haley hits a metal frame with her foot, and the CGI gator comes her way. Ample space in this basement, again, for gators, is a main issue here, because the fish swims around like a champ. Repositioning. I'm only kidding about the fish. Listing, I know it's a damn mammal. In the future, with the picture-in-picture cinema, will mascots make a killing as tech investors and overtake whole communities of working-class people, causing gentrification? Is this a story of one of those takeovers so hostile? At first, I thought the croc was CRAWWL, attacking her dad, but I now can see that it's reaching to attack while being pinned down. So it's still pinned down, still attacking. And Dick Distance is chucking at the beast with the shovel. If I knew it was the one-eyed croc Haley stabbed, I would have had an old one-eyed joke for the shovel chucking. Her dad is chopping the gator. When he brings his shovel up, it could have been bloodier, in such a way that it can be seen rather than told. I do drive a school bus podcast as a side hustle. I wouldn't want the reputation of describing head chopping a gator underwater in a Florida basement and poison the airwaves. It's gruesome and adds to why this killer thriller is worth a viewing or scrolling. Hair metal song. I wish these gators' heads would start rolling in as the rush of the storm waves drifting in. I'll be your massive ship's cannon. Gosh, these shovels chop so nice and thin. An order of Coca-Cola for Cousin Ben. Rick, these are gator heads, not baloney. Haley continues navigating and silently swimming down the hallway. She may not make it to the stairs. We see a large beast near the staircase space. She takes a route that leads to what looks like sewer entrance. She keeps her flashlight going and has entered a habitat. As a swamp of filth and sewer collectings, does she see a dead animal, a cow? She is waist deep in water and has bumped into a dead body after avoiding death. She bumps away from this one and into a sewer nest where her hand rested and cracked open a gator egg. She's in a nest of eggs. Again, do not stop to check Snapchat. You found eggs. Now get out. It is, however, an incredible set. The murky water I mentioned, it's a dark tea color, and like river algae rests on top. Along with the muck and filth, it stays nicely lit and sparkling green, which is a benefit to the soft actor. This is nasty business, and she is not this filthy. If something along the wall or water starts beading or glowing, you know you've got real problems. This habitat has an infestation of the local wildlife, not a troublesome hippie family seeking scientific refuge. Could you imagine working on a set like this with any sense of scientific refuse? Swamp garbage? Grunge? Mud honey? Get out here. These are dinosaur juniors. And the dead boat cop is for the babies. Yikes! Yolks. How many did you break, Kaya? She shivers from shock or seeing a crawling gator coming through a glowingly lit sewer pipes. Luigi from Mario right now is like,
You couldn't, call, me for this, roll? Cheese's Pizza? You're, my agent, Capricola, San Pellegrino, Orangina.
Blood orange, Orangina. My goodness, this is Weird Al Alligator. This weird-ass alligator comes in and slides around where she is perched. She has taken her time getting back out of here, but I guess it was a do-or-die mission. She's eyed the pipe, which, like a video game, is probably going to keep producing gators, unless she crawls fast. The alligator, not Luigi, has swam somewhere she cannot track. And she has kept her head on a swivel, which is smart for her and the movie because she needs to continue to be alert. And thanks to PTSD, she and others will continue to deal with that. Normalize accessible mental health care. But remember in a scene from Crocodile Dundee 1 with the canteen and a puddle of swamp just like this one? Except it was on Aboriginal land in the outbacks of Australia. And this is supposed to be in Florida. Under the water where the eggs are, they have hatched because it's a movie and like popcorn, it's time! These are Dino Juniors. 59 minutes. She slowly eyes the sewer pipe and the dead body nearby. I don't know what I would be doing besides just heading for the sewer to scoot as fast as possible. This movie is about Americans for Americans, so she goes for the floating cop. The floating cop's gun. And immediately picks up her pace, getting a grip and squeezing. It's jammed or damaged. Water damage, possibly? Just then, a gator guns it right for her, and us through the lens. She squeezes again, pulling shots off. The gator bites her hand, wrist, and arm. And she is letting shots off, like ranch-eating gun owners on 4th of July, or Regina and Samantha, the Night of the Comet sisters. She's shooting this gator down its throat, while the gator has her forearm deep in its mouth. She's holding on, launching offensive defense. Enough shots to bake his potato, and the floating gator deflates into the swamping waters. Her forearm and elbow is bendable and punctured. She can bend it, but is bleeding. 1 hour. She has on capri pants and a soaked maroon shirt. She, as well as her dad, progress. Haley into the swamp pipe. I think he is heading her way, or another entrance. We do see he is jammed, trying to enter somewhere. I need more storm. The water is coming in, flowing now. But I need more storm shots, more thunder, especially when she's making decisions, looking around. Thunder is a motivator for tension and thriller atmosphere. Continuing, her father has gone to the area with the furniture or the entrance panel. He's jammed and the water is filling the last of his breathing area. Reference Hard Rain, 1998, Christian Slater, Morgan Freeman, the scene where Christian Slater is still locked in a jail cell and Minnie Driver is somewhere nearby. She is full on in water, navigating through the exit of the sewer pipe. At the exit opening, a gator is swimming past. Not looking in her direction, she continues, and we see a perfect wrecked sewer pipe opening. No wonder these gators got in. Why won't the city fix this? How is it possible your house would process this amount of sewer utility, and her dad hasn't noticed a full-on Jurassic Park next to his boxes of tackle boxes and old trading cards? I'm not mad about the divorce. I'm more mad about this stank-ass house or basement. Ha ha ha. I assure you, Sugar has been on the case for several weeks. Kaya is acting underwater, which must be unforgiving.
She should be Jennifer Lawrence's sister or partner in some action flick.
She gets caught up on the opening, but after looking around, she confidently makes her way out. And it is damn hard to look this good underwater. And I don't mean SI swimsuit issue. I mean she is well lit and her eyes and face show tension and direction under the murkiest water. Hate or love it, but Shape of Water won the Oscar in Just as Dirty Water and Stank-Ass Eggs. This is not a topical period romance. Above her, she can see a gator, incredibly swimming and large. Nearby is a parked gator, remaining still and calm, with its short little mitts hanging in the water. This floater awakens, feeling Haley's swim swishes, and it turns into a tack. The surface sparkles, with storm rain and sunglow. The gator is headed directly for Haley. Haley is retreating onto her own path. Her choices recognize. And remember, her father is rendezvousing under the wooden furniture. If Haley can make it back into the house on the main floor to open the entrance for her dad. She kicks and propels herself on a tuft of lily pads and wetland foliage. She gains ground, is walking along the house. The camera stays at an angle from the gator's swamp perspective. Above, in the sky, copters fly by, and all Haley can do is a bit of a shout. Just get in the house, she does, but smashing the lightest of patio furniture into the sliding glass door and in bare feet. She makes her way to save her dad's last breaths. Sugar is tracking him through the floorboard. Good girl, Sugar. Can we have the dog dive into the water and give dad person kisses of oxygen like in so many movies? And more recently, I saw Jessica Alba give oxygen kisses to her boyfriend's friend, Scott Conn, in the great movie Into the Blue, not only starring Jessica Alba, but also Shout out to Tanny and the Teenage T-Rex Paul Walker from our episode. Shout out to Emily. Check out our previous episodes. She gets like a crowbar and hacks at the floorboards, near her dad gasping at the floor. But as we see him fall back into drowning, his perspective does not show that she is cracking open. If he could hold on for one more second. She reaches in and pulls him out. She resuscitates him, and the room is gaining water. I was like, get away from the opening. He looked gray for a moment. The look around from the front porch. She can't believe they are surrounded by water. I know the feeling of local culture shock when returning to your parents' house. Water traps you in from all around. But like Jim sent Susan, keep the faith. The boat that is stuck nearby, the gas station, when the levees break, we can't be here. The boat is the only chance to get us out. They hunt what splashes, so no splashes. Her dad wraps the bait. The dog! He wraps the dog in his arms, and they start walking through the water. A great effort to create atmosphere with these CGI gators. A few are zipping around, almost showing off their turfs. Haley's red Jeep starts drifting with the water, along with the trio. It's kind of a funny sight, and Haley, like Beavis, is like, oh my god. An hour 8. There is a pause in their walking, which is good for the pace and safety, possibly keeping still, while progressing somehow. Instinct with intent. They look up at a completely flat gray sky. Reminds me of Midwestern oppressive charms. They look up at silent beauty. Present now, in our pause. A camera view above shows a patrolling gator gliding along in front of Haley. Her dad holding sugar like a shepherd, or Galifianakis holding comedy in Hangovers. Clutch. A vanity shot in the neutral gray surroundings between these two actors. Is this new norm of Netflix or Sci-Fi Channel productions? I know I'm not the only person mentioning it, and I'm not the first person to talk about it. It looks great to be an actor, the sets take effort even if CGI, but it looks beyond staged. When productions look this way, I know what it is. It's the prequels. CGI sterile. Lucas cereals. CGI sterile. It's like when milk and cereal is all marshmallows. She remains still as the prehistoric nephew croaks by. She trembles with shock, and all through this, she gets a lot of screen time. And right now she is standing in water, brightly lit for her to pop on screen. She is in 2 layers of shirt tops. One is a maroon. Again, the movie remains serious. No funny biz, no wet t-shirt contest here. An incredible siren sounds. Do you hear that? I think this means water is heading in. Caution alarm for flooding. The CGI shots continue, but it's working. That may be a shout out to photography, cinematography. Not to be a movie slug, but they are not moving forward. Let's go, you two. Sugar is like focused on the snack shop ahead, where the boat is parked. This is an energetic wind-up to set up her dad simply coaching her to swim over there swiftly, outmaneuvering the gators, getting the boat and returning. And pick up some moon pies for me, please, or shelf sausage. Woohoo! Hoof! I'm Sugar the dog. Answer the door. Woof! The eye of the storm is directly overhead, obvious now surrounding them. A part of his coaching style from the beginning has been she is an alpha predator, so he has nodded her on, continuing the philosophy. She swims off in a flash. Her dad with Sugar stays standing in place. She is super fast and efficient. She is a straight shot. And it looks like 2 other CGI gators, CGI tails wagging, lots of CGI gator, CGI tail wagging in this movie. It makes me wonder if Sugar's tail is CGI. With maybe 3 gators converging, one coming from a fence length away, to almost chomp her, As she swims up and legs herself into the boat, the motor starts and she heads off, maybe skimming over some debris or gator hide. Or, what's that, Just? What about the tuft of grass roundabout in this residential square I mentioned earlier? Thanks, Just. This might be our smashing moment. Oh, my leg! Smashing. She has outswam the death beasts and is on her way to help her family. She navigates the motorboat, and this is an incredible shot. She is the motorboat operator. She's in charge. And as she gets out of there and excels, quote of all quotes, Haley, played by Kaya. Apex Predator all day. Haley in her hero strides. And what I love is I took this note and I wrote hero twice because I really meant Haley in her hero strides. But I'll keep that extra hero because damn, she's killing this movie. Dad and the dog hop in and brace as the levees have broke, and the wall of water can be seen coming towards them. It is a great shot. The water rises in an instant, like waves to be surfed. The incoming lifts up the boat, hot dog length, and propels the family on gel into the house again. Through the main window, the boat is turning over. And in this lift of floodwater gel, everyone is discarded into the living space with a rush of debris, wood and such. This does not look CGI. Haley's hair is swished. Her dad keeps his head above water. Sugar is swimming along with one leaf. Haley has her dad's hand as the water continues rushing, pushing. It's a challenge to hold on. The water has excellent texture and pressures, if you will. The two are separated. Her dad is on his back being taken to the back of the house. Shout out to the back of the house at your favorite neighborhood kitchens and tip your service staff. The fam is swimming all over. Haley emerges near the kitchen sink. Her dad is in the laundry or back hallway. Good. Get some things folded back there.
Sugar, get in the boat.
Our sidewalk ending starts now. And beware, we've lost the sidewalk. But let's call it the roof of the house. Haley is now on the sink. And it's great because the branch of the tree that jump scared us earlier when she entered the house initially is here again. And she's sort of got a grip with it at the sink. The water all around is flooding the house rooms we can see now. From her perch, from the kitchen. Hey Dez, I found your fridge. It's busted, sliding open. Some magnets still attached, however, I cannot see if they are fruit. Haley, you gotta be fucking kidding me. She continues to be unbelievable by this emergency events. The house is a hollowed out wreck. Hour and 11 minutes. Haley's trauma and instincts are kicking in. She is standing on the sink, assuming gators are in the living space, deep in the water now. Is this a movie about being more aware of your surroundings? She's cautiously scooting herself. The junk around, floating on top, these plastic island debris origins remind me of the garbage disposal chamber the Star Wars friends find themselves in. Maybe this was an influence on the movies.
Let me get on an app to prove it. No, I'm back.
I see a cooler growling. Growl. The movie. Her dad is ranting, grunting, and shouting. Maybe his disposition was referencing Noel from Roar. She is still cautious, surrounded by yellowing wallpaper and a green painted cabinets and shelving. HGTV network is pissing in the shallow end as they listen to this. Damn, we got a lot of flipping to do. Natural disaster and housing content, that's an interesting trend. The waterline is shown rising above the lines of growth drawn by her and her sister on the kitchen wall nearby. These are the opportunities I like to see filmmakers take. Crafty. Haley is crawling along the stove. I just got a cramp from typing. I ate too close to typing. I gotta go lay on my towel. This set dressing is even reminding me of Jumanji OG, when chaos is let loose. Her dad has shouted, "Meet me at the staircase." She had eyed the center table and she tests the water, throwing a surge protector. Nothing moves. She hops to the table. A leg of the wood table breaks with a slippery shift. She grasps the above ceiling lamp, which fails her, and she lands in the water, knees first. She kicks and dashes herself to a wall area. She's standing on I don't know what. She's hearing and seeing a radio. And she is definitely like, just get me the fuck out of this water, like, as soon as she touched the water. The water continues rushing in the direction of the back of the house. We get a shot of that as a camera takes us to the staircase, where Dad is also grunting in pain, holding on. Some stairs are shown above the water. I think this is where the opening that was covered with furniture is located. I'm grinding. Like, this guy is so close to these stairs above water. Above dino teeth bites. Very near to him is what looks like a plastic bottle for a protein shake. And I think he pulls out flares or fireworks. How convenient. The radio is chattering on. Haley is in the main room, gaining her balance on top of the capsized boat. Capron-sized boat? Capron-sized boat? No, smaller. The one from the gas station is in the house. This water is not rushing like the hallway. She uses a paddle to push the floater nearer to the radio. She pulls the debris closer and retrieves the radio without being bitten, and no gators to be seen. Maybe they are attending to the baby dinos, who could be drowning in this newborn storm. Hey gators, don't you watch the weather station? You should have been more prepared. She hits the radio without incident. Is this a story of healing through trauma and the practices back to success? If at first or second or third you are bitten in your leg, then your ass, then your arm squeezing a gun, try again. She notifies the service on the other side of the radio. Too little response. The green light is some hope, until Barry hits the red flare in the other room. And how could I forget that Sugar was back where her dad came, and is now doggy paddling back to his person with no pushback from rushing waters, from like the back, wherever the dad person was, folding laundry or whatever. Sugar is making their way towards the staircase, no matter what area of the house that was. The red is lighting the hall of water, doggy paddle, causing alarms to heighten awkwardly. Her dad pulls Sugar in. Dude, you could have put the flare down on the steps until his flare arm is bitten by a gator in the hallway. Sugar is to the stairs. Fighting this gator with miraculous strength. Her dad is holding on to the wall. The gator is holding onto his arm. His arm is holding the flare. At one point, this was underwater. It's unbelievable. And then the gator breaks his arm backwards, taking it off. Horrific. Just go. Growl. She jumps into the water, and the gators follows. She gets into the powder room and rushes to push the door closed. Love this movie. But you know what doesn't open and close in water? Doors. The gator is in the tiled room, and she has the bath frosted glass door closed beside her. You know what I want nothing to do with during a dangerous storm or series of actions? Frosted glass from bathrooms. I don't want to be drunk with a pile of rocks next to these things. I don't want to be in a pushing contest with walls made of frosted glass. I don't want to be in a dunk tank with walls of frosted glass. Keep me away from these things. If you have the idea to train a lion in a swim tank, in a swimming pool, with beach balls made of frosted glass. I want no part of it. As the gator's tail thrashes and the water rushes into the room, Haley, in the shower space, bracing herself, and with the water white tiles and water lit around her, she's in a bright photographic frame that reminds me of like 2011, 2012 era Jack White singles, the album covers. She is in the shower, the gator with one eye, with two eyes, I don't know. This is an opportunity they have provided tape to keep pieced together. It is swirling with aggressive investigatoring. In a circle next to the closed doors, we see from an above angle. She slides the vulnerable door open. The gator is facing us. She says, "Come on, you son of a b-"
Meow. 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 Meow.
and she lures it in as she slow-mo steps on the soap dish, holds the shower head, and legs herself over the stall. As the gator fits into the shower, biting and missing with altered depth perception. So maybe this is the one eye. She exits the bathroom and returns to her dad and Sugar. Her dad is severely injured, has contained his upper arm as she pulls them up the stairs, the water raising along with them. If you have any unused bath bombs, now is the time to use them. Quickly, one time out here, I saw a street that was safe, and actually I think I connected two big box stores, and it ran through a residential, but it was a very slow, safe area, and it had been raining all day or whatever, and it just so happened that nearby the residential sewers, all of the water was definitely pooled up. It was very, very high. It was very remarkably high. I was still able to drive around. Everybody was safe, but you had to kind of go around this. But I went and bought like a handful of like $2 bath bombs or whatever, really, really low price. All different colors, all different smells or whatever I could get my hands on. And I drove back. This was all very like close by and everything. And I just started like, plopping them in. And I think I even like did an errand, plopped in the bath bombs, went and bought whatever, toothbrush, and then drove past it again and plopped two more soap bath bombs into it. Because I also remember doing that series, coming back around to see like, okay, let's see this crazy frothy swirl that must be created, and nothing was created. Nothing. I even thought doing this during active rainstorm where that water would just sort of be active and maybe help mix so that a still water of no colorfulness and soap suds would not be the outcome, but it ended up, it was still and there was no soap suds. So I don't know what I did wrong. I at least threw 5 of these standard sized cheap bath bombs. Anyway, the house is strong, and they go to the attic opening, like where Clark Griswold gets locked into with old family movies. Same type of doorway. The selling of the house is another plot point hard to spot, over the rush of waters. Her dad speaks, which is a good sign. He should be passed out. He says he's not selling the house. I don't know. Haley says, "Me and you, that's home." I love this movie. Her arms do not look bitten. I love this movie. The water has risen to the windows of this floor, and like a human aquarium, the water is showing through the windows shut. Reference sea monkeys, the standard mermaids, questionable. And got a treat of a forgotten gem with this scene. I'm experiencing it for the first time again. She doesn't notice the pressing water line against the windows. She stops what she's doing with Dad and approaches the window with a flare. "Do you know what that is?" Me. "No." "It's the rescue chopper." What she must be seeing is the pressure from the propellers is pressing the surface water, which adds to an incredible looking frame, hard to see or make out. But the sound is key, hearing the thumping copter. As she lights the flare, she glows red, the room pressure rises, as a deep blue sea, the Meg, rushing gator, swims towards the window, blasting through, coming at us and Haley. We're at an hour 19. I think she is thrown back into the water, which may rush her directly back into her old room. Now that's a shark attack. Damn, Haley, let's get out. Dad gets to the roof. Sugar is in the attic. Her dad has hopped up. The water is high. This is flooding like I have never experienced. This is the horror of the actual events leading up to Deja Vu. And the joy of movie making with Bill Paxton on a set of The Making of Twister. Kaya is working her legs off, and the sets look incredible. And obvious to me, a viewer, looks super challenging. And let me just reference again the behind the scenes. You can find it out there on YouTube of Bill Paxton on the set of Twister. Check it out, because this set is also like jagged and you have to climb and water's everywhere, and if you were with a functioning gator equipment, then that's also a challenge. And it just reminded me of Twister, being that they had sets on different angles. That might have happened on a set here. When she surfed the capped motorboat, I thought it may be a coffin. When she heads towards her windows here, a tree trunk frightens her as if it was a gator. She hears or feels that another gator is now behind her. But all in one instant, she is bitten from the back of her shoulder and taken down into the water of this room. The gator is doing the full-on spinning. Red-lit, blood-soaked swamp water fills the screen. This room is never ending. Haley is cotton candy being whipped around in a blender turned sideways. The flare is underwater. She's grasping. She's flashbacking. Her youth. She was happy. She was competitive. She grabs the flare, and her coach helps her out of the pool after a race. The flare is shown hitting the eye of this gator. The pattern and texture fill one side of the frame, which is really rad and almost graffiti. An hour 20 minutes. Continuing to hold her breath underwater and losing blood. Did you get that? This is action hero. Top shelf. Don't be such a sausage self. Don't be such a sausage self. Don't be such a sausage self. It's wild to see someone swim out of a bay window. She swims to and holds onto the gutter. If she can hold on, she will reach the roof. If the copter help is really here, the gator is gnawing on the gutter. She is maneuvering. Sugar is on the roof. Both her and her dad are fighting the house trimming to get to the roof. As she uses her fingers to get distance from the gator, another piece of debris falls and takes the gator away with the rush of water. Her father is there to pull her up on the edge of the roof. He would be just a zombie right now, though, right? The view, this water is rushing and surely rising all around them. She holds his only good hand, and she gets an adorable pouting face as she manages her energy getting upset. Sugar is also there, staying sturdy in place.
Bark! Bark! Bark!
Yeah, I know.
Answer the door! Woof! Woof!
The pair can barely look to the side to see similar to the deleted intro. Search and rescue light is coming towards them from the distance. This time a roof of a house, not an auto. A flare is next to her. She is using her energy to light it. She is standing with the flare as the copter lowers a rescue cage, or whatever this would be called. This is one copter certainly not several copters coming to place a microfiber cyber seal of a swamp house on a swamp house. Just one copter for a family of 3 here. Non-smoking, please. She turns and smiles. Her dad has a gasping chuckle and smile. I think he's like, I'm proud she outswam gators and won a fist of flares. The end. And he lost an arm, but not a dog, nor a daughter. So the sun escapes the gray clouds above. The music always a signature to movie club movies. See you later, alligator. Yeah, yeah. See you later, alligator. Yeah, yeah. See you later, alligator. Yeah, yeah. After a while, crocodile, don't you see you're in my way now? Don't you know you cramp my style? Yeah, yeah. Don't you see you're in my way now? Don't you know you cramp my style? Please be kind. Please rewind.
Okay, moon pie. Or self-sausage. I'm Sugar the doggy. Answer the door. I'm Sugar the dog. Answer the door. Woof.
Look in the closet or
Get out.
The Movie Club Movies. You can find us anywhere you catch pod, as well as letterboxed at #TMCMS, the Movie Club Movies Podcast. Be sure to smash that message button.